Thank you so kindly for being a part of the show. We are going to have a great show for you today. As usual, my brothers and my sisters, we're going to have a good show for you today. Anyhow, let's see. Welcome aboard. Maywood, I take it I found the live show. Yes, you found the live show as I'm talking to you right now. Peggy Lopez is in the house. She says, hi all. Interesting times we live in. Yes, Peggy, estás correcto. You're absolutely right. Nanette Bird-Smith is in the house. She says, hi all. Michael Rudnan is in the house. I'm going to read your piece in a minute, Senor Rudnan. Bridge MCP says, hello, peeps. I didn't hear that, Michael Rudnan. Wow, I'm going to read it. I haven't read it yet, but I'm going to read it for the first time aloud. Melanie Keaton, welcome aboard from Barcelona, España. Thank you for being here. You are here actually at the right time. And of course, there is our beautiful Deb Denny. How you doing, Deb? Welcome aboard, AVQ. Egberto, I'm going to limit myself to one post as I'd appreciate your advice on a personal interest story from AM New York Metro News. Coney Island mass shooting. Man killed, 4 others wounded as bullets fly on beach. Law enforcement sources said 2 unidentified males opened fire before midnight on Saturday, August 27th, on the beach off the Riegelman Boardwalk near West 29th Street. The most seriously wounded victim, authorities said, was, let me check it. Let me see, first of all, if there's, was a 42-year-old man shot in the back. He died after being brought to NYU Langone Hospital, Brooklyn, for treatment. Police have withheld his identity pending family notification. My mom was kind of panicked for a while over the proximity to this news story, as just being in the same neighborhood on the same weekend as when it happened, though a day apart and several dozen blocks away. Then when I tell her that mass shootings have become a more than daily news event somewhere in our nation, that isn't going to help. Makes me wonder, how do I get someone to stop worrying about random crime happening to them with the more outlandish and unlikely scenarios that mainstream news stations prefer to push, and start something more productive, such as assisting in talking to local representatives about social safety net programs, gun control laws, and engaging in our political activism that might actually make a difference? Brother, thank you so kindly for making that story a personal story. And I tell you why. I have been writing about how effective Republicans are in getting their policies across. Not good policies, but they get people to continue to vote in their own interest. I want to make this first political because you hit the nail on the head. America is a country of 330 plus million people. We lose over 40,000 or so, and correct me where I'm wrong, but it's several thousand for gun violence. Even if we made that the norm, that would be a very unlikely event for any one individual, statistically speaking. When it's you, however, or when it's around the corner, however, even if it's me, somebody who knows the numbers, an engineer, I understand statistics. I understand even that we build planes with a certain level of tolerance, which means we figure that X amount of planes are going to crash because we don't strive for perfection. We strive to minimize damage. And in said doing, as an example, we have guns. Technically speaking, we could avoid gun violence by simply outlawing guns. If we outlawed guns and we cut the hands off of anybody who attempted to manufacture guns clandestinely, we wouldn't have gun violence. But we make calculated risks, and right now we've made a bad calculated risk in that we've allowed more guns than we should. But that said, even though this is all true, living in Brooklyn, living wherever it is that you're living is a lot safer, because here's one of the other things about the stats, right? They talk about gang killings and there are killings everywhere. All these things are pretty darn localized to areas where we expect them to happen. Yes, every so often you have it in a rich neighborhood, in a more affluent neighborhood, etc. But all this crime rage, and the reason why they really don't do much about it is because it has not affected the people in that matters. And when I say matters, the matter is in quotations. Let me kind of entertain some other. Since this is Michael's stories, I'm going to jump to what Michael is talking to me about right now. Then I'll jump into the other parts of the story. Michael said, Egberto, gun homicides around 11,000 per year, gun injuries around 400,000, but our rate of gun homicides and injuries are disproportionate to the rest of the world. Absolutely. But again, what I'm trying to say is, from a statistical analysis, even though we are way ahead of any other country with the killings by guns, as a fraction of who it affects in our population at large, it's a very, very small number. And Lee Grant, in as much as I know where Lee Grant is going for, he's making a very smart statement. When Lee says we have 30,000 per year deaths due to automobile violence, it's not violence, it's accidents, right? And the thing about automobile violence is that it's not as random as guns. You're right about that. So let's put it in the context of what Lee Grant just said. You've just talked about 11,000 homicides, but I rather concentrate on the other number you gave, Rudnin, which is 400,000 gun injuries, because that is more in line with Lee Grant's 30K fatalities by death, and if you count, regular accidents, etc. So, as far as your mother is concerned, I'm going to, you can give the numbers to her, but the only thing that's going to solve her problem, or I shouldn't call it a problem, the only thing that's going to make her feel safer is continuing to live where she is. And given that statistically that same thing won't occur in the near term around the neighborhood, that she sees nothing major happening again, and she will eventually go back to normal. Let me give you my personal experience with Starbucks. I used to live in Starbucks. I wrote all my books in Starbucks, etc., or most of them, except for the last one, which I think was during COVID. But since COVID, I haven't been going to the Starbucks. It's an irrational fear of just being around people. And in our area, COVID is really minimized now in my neighborhood, etc. And, I went, a friend of mine this week, so, let's go to Starbucks. And I went to Starbucks and I spent probably 5 hours inside of a Starbucks. And because I was pretty isolated in an area without a mask and comfortable, and, I texted my wife and daughter and I said, I think if I don't get COVID in the next few times that I go, I may start back. I was a regular. When I got there, everybody was like, Egberto's back. And, I'm hugging all the baristas and the manager and all that kind of stuff because I hadn't been there in a long time. I love those people. We have fun. I enjoy them. They come and the young kids come and we read political books together. And I love these people. I had that fear that your mother had, Brother Rudnin, in a different way, right? And I'm starting to overcome it, not stupidly by saying, I'm not going to be diligent and I still have my mask. And if I feel that in the vicinity I need to wear the mask, etc., I will. But there was this phobia, probably the same irrational phobia that your mother has with the guns, right? So it's a human thing. And we all eventually get over it, I think, just by going back, getting some sort of a normalcy, returning to some sort of a normalcy. I'm returning to some sort of a normalcy. My what I would call excessive fear to COVID. I mean, I've survived one bout of COVID already, right? I think COVID may eventually become somewhat of like who knows, maybe. I don't know. I'm not, but you get where I'm coming from. Okay. Rodney and I, if you have anything else to add, put it in the feed, man. But thank you for bringing your personal story, because it gives me a chance to personalize it with something else, as well as personalize it for others that I'm pretty sure lived through the same thing. Paul Fleming, welcome to Politics Done Right. E2247, welcome to Politics Done Right. Let's see. Bruce says, Singapore outlaws guns or constitution has pluses and minuses. It must be taken as a whole. You're right, Bruce. Breed says, yeah, Lee, but need a lick in training. All right. Breed says, since the start of the pandemic in 2020, we've had our eyes glued to screens, staring at constant stream of numbers. It can be overwhelming, and it's easy to be complicated data to lose meaning. But good data enables us to clearly see the details of America's gun violence epidemic like nothing else. Below, we've shared some of the facts and figures that stood out from the noise. They highlight the human cost of gun violence. They give us a better understanding of who owns firearms, and they help make sense of the remarkable increase in shootings our nation continues to endure. 20,726, the number of gun deaths excluding suicide so far in 2021. Thank you so kindly for those words, Breach MCP. Brooklyn, especially where you are, Michael, is pretty safe, but moms are moms. Exactly right. Let's see. Tom C says, show is live and so are you all, unless you are a bot. By the way, I am going to have to reprogram our September first week meeting because, again, it is my anniversary week. So I've got to go do something else that week. So I'm going to reschedule Ask Egberto Anything. And if I don't have it rescheduled by Wednesday, I'm pretty sure Tom C is going to give me a boot and say, you better get that crap done, Egberto. You know, thank you, Tom, for always being there to remind me. Okay, let's see what else we got here. Nanette Birdsmith, I hope I saluted you. I think I did. We have, who got a t-shirt? I did. Oh, she did. Wow, you got the t-shirt. And you're going to see the guy. Yeah, you know, the light is blinking, but I'm going to take a chance, Breach, because you know what? I want folks to see that we are committed. When we say we're going to do something, Breach, we do it. Let me back up. Come on, Egberto, back up so that people can see Breach holding up the shirt that was promised her. And by the way, the guy who went and got the shirt for you that I brought back, he is on the show today. But let's see. Let's give you a quick glimpse of Breach's shirt. Okay? There is Bridget's shirt. She got it on. There is Bridget's shirt with the economy. It finally made it. All right, I'm going to turn this off because I don't want the system to crash again. There we go. All right, Bridge, thank you for showing us. Thank you for showing us. Did I show it? Did I really show it or didn't I show it? Let me make sure I showed it. All right, there it is. There is Bridget's shirt, the one that we saw when I was in Pittsburgh, PA at Netroots. All right. Muchísimas gracias. By the way, Rodnan, did you get yours yet? Because yours was sent as well. Let us know if you got it, Radin. Program. What else have we got here? Bear with me. Para ver. Carl Cox says conservatives don't want to help students with student loans debt because they don't receive bribes from students like they do elsewhere. There's some truth to that. Eric says, don't you find it odd that it's the first in this report won't be published? Biden administration sending billions to Ukraine and not reporting on where it's going, media not asking questions. Don't you find that strange? No, I don't. Because whenever the military-industrial complex gets money, whether it is from Republicans or Democrats, they always hide it. So let me just say, Eric, I'm with you there, right? But we have big battles to fight. Let's see. Michael Rodney said, I got the t-shirt too. One size too small for me. Gonna find someone to regift it. That's a large, man. You look okay, maybe. What can I say? Forgive me. All right. Alistair Waters says, I made it. Alistair Beautiful Waters, welcome aboard. Where can I order one of those T-shirts? I don't know, Mabe. The guy went and picked it up in one of the booths for the people who asked for it during the live program. Lee Grant says Zuckerberg said FBI told him to suppress the Hunter Biden laptop story. Election interference. Oh Lord, you guys won't leave Biden alone, won't you? All right, let's see what else we got. Michael Renner says, since when has the military ever passed an audit? Thank you, Michael. You're absolutely right. Breeze MCP says, May, the back has a link. We'll find it. Thank you very much, Breeze. Tom C says, no problem on rescheduling. Ask Egberto. You don't want to answer the questions your wife will ask you if you forget your anniversary. Tell me about it. Alistair says, I have something interesting you need to read, so you make sure I read it, Miss Waters. Maywood says, if you're an extra large, I'll take it. And Lee Grant says, is the laptop story still banned on PDR? And it's not that the laptop story is banned on PDR. I don't ban anything. I mean, there's all kind of rumors going around with Biden and the daughter and all of that. And I don't play those games. I mean, look, there are similar rumors between Ivanka and Trump. And you don't see me play those games on this show. Right? You don't see me do that. Man, they have clips of Oprah with Trump saying some interesting things. It's not relevant to what we do. Daniel Ledo says, make you a deal. We will leave Biden alone if you will all leave Trump alone. No, Trump is making himself relevant, so we can't leave Trump alone. And you can stay talking about Biden's daughter and Biden and all of that. It won't change anything. I mean, let me tell you what's going to happen, because you guys better be ready to be very, very pissed off. Because not only are we going to retain Congress, I'm talking about the House of Representatives, meaning Democrats, but Democrats are going to gain seats in Congress. They're going to gain seats in the Senate, and they are going to hold on to everything. They're going to gain a couple governorships. Okay? I know people say, oh, you're going to lose the governorship and you're going to probably lose the House. Mark my word. Democrats are poised to win it all. Let me tell you what you don't look at. Everybody was looking at the absolute numbers, right? I am looking at trajectory, and I'm looking at not only trajectory, but what has been happening. And if you take a look, Kansas should be probative. I repeat, the polls, people, even Republicans won't say, we won't mess with those nuts to a pollster. Republicans are good folk too. They don't want nutcases out there. They want a semblance of a democracy. I mean, Liz Cheney is just the outward view of most sensible Republicans that are quiet. I repeat, Liz Cheney is a sensible Republican, conservative that I completely disagree with on social and economic issues, but a good American. Okay? Roberto Lewis is in the house. Daniel Ledo is in the house. Roberto says, saludos a mi gente de Politics Done Right. So mark my word, folks. Those people who somehow have this fallacy in their heads that we're going to have as the next Speaker of the House, McCarthy. No. The next Speaker of the House is likely going to be, I hope it's not her, though. I hope she rescinds and give it to a youngster, Nancy Pelosi, but I hope she gives it up. But Democrats will control the House in next year, a couple more senators next year, and ships, including the governorship in Maryland. So I want all Democrats to go out there right now, and progressives, go out there and encourage your people to go out there and be positive and go vote with a passion. Voter suppression can only take 2 to 3 points off. If you win by 5 and 6 and 7 points, even the thuggery of the folks controlling the election in the red states won't be able to do anything. Okay? So please, remember, it's for Democrats to lose. It's all directionality is all in their favor. New sheet, Greenland ice climate disequilibrium and committed sea level rise. They expect that shelf to cause a 10-inch rise in the sea level, folk. A 10-inch rise in the sea level. Breed says, I don't see it. Is it the one we spoke of? I don't know what you're talking about, Breed, but Joshua Reyes says, Bernie smoking blunts, right? I don't know, but he probably could. Eric A says, thuggish is not holding criminals via bonding accountable. No, that's not thuggish. That's following the law written by Republicans in the state of Texas. All right, what else have we got here? Okay, time for our first video on student loans. You know, I support student loan, and I'm back to where I began. And that is every single student loan should be forgiven. And we should go a bit further and force schools not to charge. In fact, all public schools, as Bernie said, should be free, tuition free of charge. And private schools, if I were for private schools, I would remove all government funding, meaning Harvard, MIT, and all these schools. I would make sure that those kids who are at private schools don't receive funds from the government. That's what I would do. So I'm not saying that's what Democrats would do, but I think all private schools should be done through the private domain. And all public schools should be done through the public domain. If a private school wants to be private, then it should be able to sustain itself. Punto y final. All right, let's go ahead and listen to this one that I did. I find the student loan forgiveness debate the heights of hypocritical thought, a thought process that is so hypocritical. I want you to take a look at this, and then we'll take it on the other side, because it is imperative. It is imperative that we are not hoodwinked like we always are hoodwinked when it comes to giving anything to the working class, to the middle class, to the poor. Check this out. We'll take it on the other side.
I want to ask you about President Biden's decision to forgive student loan debt.
I just thought it was monumentally unfair to people who didn't go to college because they didn't think they could afford it, unfair to people who had paid their loans back, unfair to people who got higher education in an area that the government didn't make loans.
Most economists who looked at it said it's not going to increase inflation.
Most economists are wrong.
Senator Blunt right there, he said this program is unfair. It's going to hurt the economy.
He's wrong. 60% of the benefits go to people who are on Pell Grants. 87% of the benefits go to people who are making $75,000 a year. Look, it is shocking, George, to some Republicans that the government actually, on occasion, does something to benefit working families and low-income people. I don't hear any of these Republicans squawking as we need to make public colleges and universities tuition-free.
Tim Ryan is running for Senate, said it's unfair to those without student loans who are struggling to make ends meet.
I do not think that the president should forgive any student loan debt, because like a lot of people have been saying, it wouldn't be fair to the people who hustled and sacrificed and worked hard to pay off their student loan debt. They're not going to get that time or that money back. During slavery in America, when the slaves that had hustled and worked to escape their plantations, when they heard that the president was going to sign the Emancipation Proclamation, they were like, this isn't fair to me. Do I get all the years back that I was enslaved? I don't think that we should be making advances in medicine either, because it's really not fair to the people who have already died.
I love the sarcasm of her statement. In other words, should we prevent progress because those who were maliciously, those who through utter evil did not get the benefits? Should we forego benefits going in the future because of the past evil? Or should we make progress? It's all about making progress. I mean, are we going to go back for decades and say, oh, well, we should have it just doesn't work that way. Otherwise, I think there's a group of folks who would have had more than their 40 mules and their 40 acres and a mule. I think if that were the case, a lot of the redlining that had occurred, the loss in capital, the loss in wealth that many suffered because of redlining and all the other all the other iniquities, all the other vicious economic attacks on people. If we were to recover all of that, my God, the trillions of dollars that would have to be returned to the families, to the relatives of the aggrieved would be monumental. What we want, folks, is progress. What we want, folks, is to make progress now. This is a very, very small start, but it is a start. Absolutely so. So, I mean, I love the sarcasm. All right, Tom C says, Lindsey Graham warns of riots in streets if Trump charged over classified documents. So if there is violence, will Lindsey have blood on his hands, just like ex-president after January 6th insurrection? Absolutely, he will. Absolutely, he will. And yes, Bridge, I'm glad that you put that correcting factor in there for those people who make less than 125K. Thank you very much for making that correction because, and that forgoes all the folks who have just got out of college and started making a ton of money. So, it's all fair. Some people are going to get over. Some people are going to get a better deal. But, that's life also, right? Some people were already born with a silver spoon in their mouth. Isn't that true? Absolutely so. So, hey, that's what we're talking about, man. That is what we're talking about. Anyhow, second story, Nathan Locke. We always wonder if we're going to waste our vote, right? New York started to work with ranked choice voting. They made an utter ridiculous, preposterous flunky of it because they were just inept at implementing it. But when done correctly, using appropriate computers, it is really the best of all worlds. And I spoke to somebody very special in it's the executive vice president of the organization that is pushing that. So let's go ahead and give him a listen. Welcome to another edition of Politics Done Right live from Netroots. Today I'm here and I'm honored to have Nathan Lockwood with Rank the Vote. Let me ask you something. Why is it so difficult for us to grasp that this idea is, first of all, explain to us what your process is, or what that process is.
Oh, what is ranked choice voting?
Yes.
Absolutely. So it's a simple upgrade to the way we vote.
Right.
Something very important, voting. Instead of picking a single candidate, voters can rank the candidates in the order that they like them.
Right.
So your favorite would be your first choice. The next candidate you like best would be your second choice, and then you'd have a third. You could have a third choice or fourth choice if you wanted, etc. Why would anyone want to do this? The reason is because as a voter, when you get choice in election, when there's more than two candidates running, it's not uncommon for there to be a situation where there's a candidate you really love who is not a front runner. And you have this strategic voting concern that if you actually support your favorite candidate, you may be wasting your vote because they may not be able to win.
And that is an important thing. Nobody wants to feel your vote's wasted.
Totally. Because the result is you're actually helping elect the candidate you disagree.
So what happens then?
So what happens then with ranked choice voting is that problem goes away. You can rank the candidates in the order you like them. Your favorite doesn't have the support. Your vote counts for your next choice, who might be a front runner who can beat the candidate you least like. So concrete examples, it's a nonpartisan issue, so it's good for conservative voters. It's good for liberal voters. Folks remember back in 2000, if you're as old as you and me, Alberto, where it was Al Gore running against George Bush.
Right.
And it was real close down to Florida. George W. Bush wins with 500 votes, really close, but he doesn't have a majority of support.
Right.
Meanwhile, Ralph Nader got 100,000 votes,
right.
Way more than 500. Exit polls show that way more of his supporters would have voted for Al Gore than George Bush. In fact, Al Gore would have probably picked up about 20,000 votes.
Right.
And one with majority support rather than losing to a candidate who failed to get majority support. So, Nader was derided as a spoiler. Mm-hmm. And this shows a dynamic, like nobody wants to be Ralph Nader. No one. But what that means is we're being denied additional perspectives in our elections because people who could run are not running because they might spoil the election. And
now, why do you think it's so difficult for something that as I mean, as in it's not only intuitive, but it's almost like why would we not want that type of a voting system?
Well, here's the thing. It's what do you think the number one thing that's standing in the way, Egberto? What do you think?
My gut feeling tells me both parties, but I don't know.
That's a good. I mean, there is inertia in people who are elected under the current system.
Right.
It's changing that's not their first choice. You know,
Right.
it's like working well for them so far.
Right.
But it turns out that's probably not our biggest problem. Like, it's such a good system.
Right.
It has benefits even for candidates and
Right.
even elected folks. The biggest issue is, you mentioned, why aren't people running? Well, first thing is, people haven't heard about it.
Right.
Second thing is, we're asking people to change voting. It's so important to our democracy.
Right.
If you're going to get someone to make a change to voting, they have to understand what that change is. And we've been using this same system for 200 years. So that's really why we formed Rank the Vote, is to help folks in their states talk to voters about elections in a way that's meaningful to them, and just educate them about the opportunity that ranked choice voting offers, answer their questions about how they work, so that they can feel really excited about supporting it.
So you are a group that is pretty much an educational group. I mentioned it's a 501c3 that's trying to get out there, and this is like the ideal 501c3 in that it's completely nonpartisan. It is something that everybody should like. Now, are there any constitutional issues here?
So it turns out, there can be state to state. Some states have constitutional issues. For the most part, no. And in fact, if we had the support, and by the way, when people understand ranked choice voting,
Right.
the support goes north of 60% in the population.
It's not hard to figure out, yeah.
Exactly. It's really just the fact that people haven't heard about it is why we don't have more supporters. So when we're able to educate a lot of folks,
Right.
We could adopt this, federally. It couldn't be one state by state, which is probably,
Right.
we're going to have to win a few states first.
Right.
But there's nothing against it constitutionally. The constitutionality has been upheld in federal circuit courts.
Right.
When it was implemented in Maine, there were challenges,
Right.
and they said, nope, this is perfectly good and even better than what we're doing now. There's one federal law that would have to change.
Which
well,
is?
Well, there's, depending on what you want to implement. Actually, there's 0 federal laws. They could implement ranked choice voting nationally. Ranked choice voting is not one thing. There's different ways you can do
Right.
it. We were talking a few minutes about.
I was going to bring that up. Yeah,
Okay.
go ahead. Tell me.
No. I want to. Well, okay, sure. So Maine and Alaska became the first states to take advantage of the fact
Right.
that states can decide how to do elections.
Right.
As long, they have to be within certain parameters. But
yes.
so Maine said, we're just going to keep everything the same, but we're going to use ranked choice ballots. Where voters can rank the candidates, and of course we'll count them the way you count ranked ballots. But everything else about our elections will stay the same. So one simple change. Alaska said, well, we're kind of a red state,
Right.
and but we have these closed primaries, and which you have to be a Republican to vote in the Republican one, or a Democrat to vote in the Democrat.
Right.
But most Alaskan voters were independents.
Right.
So they're like, the Republican's probably going to win. So you got to vote. If you're not voting the Republican primary, you're not really having a say who's going
Right.
to win. And we're locked out of that. So
Right.
when Alaska moved to ranked choice voting, they also updated their primary system. Maybe you've heard California has like this top 2 primary system.
Right.
Alaska said, well, we can do this better. We'll do top 4, and then we'll use ranked choice voting to let the general electorate vote against the 4.
Okay, I got it. Now, California doesn't use ranked choice at all, right?
They have a lot of cities that do,
Okay.
but statewide, not yet.
Not yet. Okay. So in Alaska, you're telling me what they do is they have regular elections and the top 4 then participate in a ranked choice in the way they're selected.
Exactly. And the beauty of this is, Egberto, that, before the winner was being determined in a low turnout primary.
Right.
And with this, you get the much larger number of voters who vote in the general election,
Right.
able to have a couple choices from the dominant party and a couple additional choices as
Right.
well.
And then sometimes some of that less dominant choice turns out to win the election if enough people like them.
Exactly.
Well, look, it's been my pleasure. Nathan Lockwood, thank you so kindly. Nathan is with Rank the Vote. Folks, check it out. All right? Check it out and let's all educate ourselves. Thank you very much, Nathan.
Great meeting you, Egberto.
Absolutely. I hope you enjoyed that. I sure enjoyed speaking to Nathan for quite some time before and after the interview. Mike Cisak says there is a reason we have a two-party setup. The way we get election winners is a majority vote. In the end, you'll still end up with a winner with a majority vote. The best chances to win in a majority race is to group up together on multiple issues to have a chance to gain majority vote. Again, you really should, again, listen in detail to what Brother Nathan had to say. And again, we have to get out. Look, I'm a progressive, right? Real progressive. But if one of the conservatives have a great idea that I think would make a freer country, would make a more beneficial set of policies, I wouldn't let my ideology stop me from supporting it. So, Mike Cisak, that's a message to you. The party system is lousy. A two-party system is lousy. And let me tell you why. I am sure, Brother Cisak, that there are certain things that you support that I support, but because we are in different parties and there may be something you support, I support, and the party that I generally vote for does not, that somehow it is malign. And that is what we have to get around. I want us to have 10 parties and that all these parties have to come to an agreement to govern. It's a little bit nastier, but it generally reflects the will of the people much better. It reflects the will of the people much better. And again, yeah, so I am for ranked choice voting. Absolutely so. Why do Democratic Party leaders put up with this crap? What? I don't know. I guess I missed a part of the next video. And see what we're saying. Bree says it will happen. Patience by Young Jedi. All right. If anybody, let's Sydney. Welcome to Politics Done Right. I think I welcome my brother Roberto Lewis already. Deb Denny is talking to somebody else. Whoa, got a lot of messages here. All right. Eric says, why does Egberto now have a mask with this guy? Is he any different than any other up close interviews he had? I started out wearing a mask, mostly for my comfort and a lot of times for the other person's comfort. Eventually, people were telling me, you don't have to wear the mask. We're fine. We all had to be vaccinated in there, and we all had to be made sure that we didn't show any kind of signs in there. It was a really safe environment. I did a lot of this stuff, again, for myself, yes, but also for others. Eventually, I took the mask off when I did the interviews. A couple of them, I think I have a couple more that I did the interviews with the mask, but yeah. Brish got it. In the beginning, he wore a mask. Okay, thank you, Brish. What else have I got here? Any other messages from folks? David Short, welcome to Politics Done Right. Let's see what else we got here that if anybody else I need to salute. Okay, what time is it? 41. Let me go ahead and do my ask, and then I'll go ahead into the other interview. Let's go. Politics Done Right depends on you to keep doing what we do. What do? We make sure to keep, number one, the internet seeded with blogs and information to counter the right and to present what progressives represent for the benefit of us all to everybody so that it's not misread, misled by any other entity. We make sure and populate that internet with blogs, with videos, with all these other things to make sure that we are informed and to counter everything that you normally hear that are lying at the right. We also make sure to create articles in magazines, articles in newspapers all around the country to ensure, again, that our message gets out there. Last but not least, we also write books. As you see it, Class Warfare, the Only Resort to Right-Wing Doom, How to Make America Utopia, are two of the many books that I've written on these issues. So please support us in one of many ways. Numero uno, you can support us at PayPal, either one time or monthly. Go to politicsdoneright.com/PayPal. You can support us on Patreon. That is politicsdoneright.com/Patreon. Patreon is spelled Patreon. You can support us by becoming a part of our YouTube channel, going to politicsdoneright.com/YouTube, or you can support us in many other forms that you can find at politicsdoneright.com/support. Be sure to visit our store, politicsdoneright.com/store, and get our books at politicsdoneright.com/books. Politics Done Right. Thank you so kindly, folks, and please don't forget my Netroots GoFundMe has stalled out. Netroots, if you're so kind to help us defray that cost for all these great interviews that you're getting, and it's not only for you, it's for the rest of the ethos who doesn't know about ranked choice voting, who doesn't know about all these things, these different folks these activists out here that I've interviewed and politicians that I've interviewed in DC. I'm not only doing this for Politics Done Right, but we are making sure to promote all of this in podcasts, etc., so that other people are aware of these things that the progressive arena has done in Pittsburgh and elsewhere. So you can support our GoFundMe at politicsdoneright.com/netroots. And I have that in there, politicsdoneright.com/netroots. Your kind support is always appreciated. Remember, this is all we do. Trying to make a better America, trying to make a better world. And it is a choice, yes. So, but again, so please support us however you can. All the different places to support us can be found at politicsdoneright.com/support as well. All right, let me go ahead and play the interview that I did with Brian Smith. Everybody gets tired of seeing on Facebook how rude it gets, and it's not conducive to really doing good type of activism. Well, I met Brian Smith, and Brian Smith has a story for you. Let's go ahead and listen to Brother Brian Smith. Welcome to another edition, a live edition of Politics Done Right here at Netroots Nation 2022. I'm here with Brian Smith. Brian, how you doing?
I'm doing great. So good to be with you, Egberto. Thank you.
Let me tell you, we're going to have a ball. Let me tell you, first of all, one of the things that you told me is that we need to have better social networks that work. Tell me a little bit about you and Unified, what you do.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks so much for having me, and to all your listeners. Unified is a new social platform that's being developed specifically for community organizing and activism. Right. What makes Unified unique is that there's like commenting and liking, but you can also add tangible actions that your followers can complete, like getting their friends registered to vote, organizing an event, or even donating to a candidate or to a cause. So we're really excited about the opportunity and to get it into the hands of the public as soon as possible.
Now, right now we have products like Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and all of that, and they have market penetration, if you will. Progressive talking about market penetration, but anyway, they have penetration into folks, right? How are you going to be able to compete with a Facebook or get people attracted enough to your platform that's where they want to socialize?
Yeah, it's a great question. We have already seen a lot of interest in the platform. Right. We're currently speaking to hundreds of activists and organizers who exist in many of those digital spaces that you just named. Right. And they are so ready to get off of those platforms and get onto Unified. Primarily, we know that there's a growing appetite and more people are looking for alternatives. Right. You asked me beforehand, we got started, are we just building the Truth Social for the left? We're not. Right. But I think Truth is an example of how on the right, there are people looking for alternatives. Right. That also exists on the left. People are looking for alternatives to the existing platforms. So we think timing-wise, this is a great time to be entering the marketplace.
Now, I know coming on a program like Politics Done Right is one way of advertising, but granted, the universe is huge. How do you get to that universe in sort of this kid that tries to put just a sensation on it?
Yeah, well, just like I said, we're building out this existing community of early adopters. There's several hundred of them who are ready to jump onto Unified. So when the general public sees it, they're not going to join an app that's just a blank slate. There's already going to be an active, vibrant community there that folks can join. My role is actually to work more with organizations, businesses, even podcasts like yours could add and will exist on Unified creating content. I'll give you a quick example.
Right.
Let's say you have a host, a guest who comes on and they're talking about social justice.
Right.
You can then have your audience engage after that episode in complete actions around that topic and help grow your audience. That's just one example.
Right. Now, let me ask you this. Now, all of this stuff costs money.
Sure.
How are you going to capitalize this product that you?
How are we going to grow it? In other words, yeah. So we first have very exciting news. Unified will always be free.
Right.
And we actually don't run on ads. You will be able to donate to candidates and causes, and we will take a small commission off of that.
Okay. So whatever funding occurs, you actually make something out of. That's not a bad idea. Yeah. What kind of commissions are we talking about?
It'll be a small commission that you get, like for instance, Act Blue does a similar model.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And the other thing is that we're also fundraising right now through our seed round, and any member of the public can actually invest in Unified right now through our WeFunder.
Right.
And I'll give you that information. Hope you can share it with your listeners.
Yeah, please do. Can you give us verbally some of it? Or?
Yeah, absolutely. So our website is joinunified.us, and from there you'll be able to get access, or you can link out to our
if you want to become an investor.
Correct.
In this.
Yeah.
Now let me ask you something, because as an investor, are you saying that person will make a little? There are true investors that, as Unified grows, they actually make a little commission off of it?
So there's a reserved amount of around $100,000 that have specific terms that you can read about on the WeFunder site. And I believe as of this recording, there's only about 30,000 plus left in that before the terms change.
Right.
And those are very favorable terms. You can read more about it at WeFunder. And so I encourage your audience to check that out.
Absolutely. So are you going to keep that name as Join Unified, or
that's the website address?
I know, but what I'm saying is, are you going to keep that website address, or?
I think for now that's the plan. Absolutely.
The reason I'm asking that is like join. Eventually, you're going to have so many people.
Sign up for Unified is maybe a little too long, so I thought join would be a little bit better.
Better. So how long have you guys been doing this?
Yeah, so we actually first formed in the year 2019, and we had a different company then, a different product that was called Blue Squad.
Right.
And then after that, it was very successful in the 2020 cycle, but we realized that we needed to pivot and change our strategy, and so that's why we are now developing Unified.
And you're out of Austin, Texas?
That's right. Fellow Texan.
That's where I went to school, man.
All right.
Longhorn, man.
Texas really is on the front lines of so many battles for the movement, and it's great to be headquartered there in such a progressive place like Austin, but also because so many of the important battles on our side are being fought in Texas.
And that is what is amazing. A lot of people don't realize we are Harris County, Travis County. These are bellwether counties in a lot of different domains, and it really makes a difference that you can stay in certain parts of this country and talk about the red states, but when you live in the red states, you know what is a fallacy or what's real, because you have to know what you're fighting about, or you have to know what you're doing. And it's great that you guys are there. Well, look, what did I not ask you that you would like me to have asked you?
Well, the only thing I just want to repeat for your audience is that even though it's not publicly available yet, you can join our early adopter community. So again, go to joinunified.us and sign up. And if you're really interested, you can get early access before other people have it to the app. So it's a great way to learn about what we're doing.
Join Unified.
Correct. .us.
The reason I wanted to specify is because I think earlier I said Unify. It's Unified. FIED.
That's right.
All right, great. Well, look, it's been my pleasure, Brian.
Thank you, Egberto.
To you, and please keep up doing the good work, and let's make sure and get all this stuff going.
We'll make sure to tell you all about it so you can keep your audience updated.
There you go.
Thanks so much, sir.
Thank you, man. All right, folks, I hope you like that. One more quick video to get in. And yes, Egberto, most Texans pay more in taxes than Californians. I'm going to play that one up. Thank you, Alistair Waters, for turning us on to that article. I hadn't seen it before, but I'm going to blow it up. Thank you so kindly, Mademoiselle Alistair Waters. Anyhow, last video of the day. Let's get busy. Welcome to Politics Done Right. Today we are here with Chris Maka. Chris, how are you doing today, my friend?
All right. I think it was very important that you're here because, I just heard your voice at registration and I said, that's the guy that is he should be here at Netroots because He's representing the entire American economy.
I love that.
Which is all of us. This is what the right wingers don't understand.
It's all of us.
These are real Americans. This is the real American economy.
Well, look, Chris, one of the reasons I kind of drug you here after we met is that there are a lot of people that are coming to Netroots. I mean, I've been here over a decade. We do this every year. And what I like to do is I like to talk to the participants and ask people why they're here, what brought them, what turned them on to this whole process. So why don't you first tell me a little bit about yourself?
Okay. I'm here because I'm representing a company that deals with data, political data.
Mm-hmm.
We have contracts with the U.S. Senate and House of Representatives to supply data on their constituents and how best to communicate with them.
Right.
So we've been to a lot of conferences. We go to the American Association of Political Consultants, but we always love Netroots.
Right.
Because even though we have a contract with Senate and House offices to how best communicate with constituents, we sell to everybody because we don't sell to the politicians. Right. We work for the people in the districts and who's ever in their offices.
Right.
But when I come here, I enjoy much more of what our company can do in the way of making progressive change in the country.
And that is what I like about here, because that's the whole purpose, right? You won't have one person that has all the answers. But if you sit in a room with 100 progressive activists, bloggers and writers, there's a lot to learn, right?
I think it's just as soon as you get here,
right,
and you look at people,
yeah,
and you say, there's a lot more of us than we ever thought.
Right.
And we never get a chance to talk to each other. And that's exactly what goes on. And like with our company, it is basically taking to reduce to bullshit cliches, state-of-the-art technology that goes to some of the Senate offices and House offices to progressive groups and campaigns.
Right.
And it means that there are other people like me that are here at other companies that can put the progressive agenda on the same playing field, if you want to use that cliche, with the same technology that the right wing and all the people with the money have.
Right.
And the reason, and when I'm here, people don't know this is available.
Right.
And there's other companies like us that don't know this is available. And we all meet up and we come out of here often with relationships and other meetings on better ways to communicate all our messages.
So that's the importance of Netroots Nation. And again, we've been virtual for the last 2 years.
I've hated that.
I know it's great that we're here. Some of us are masked. Both of us are wearing. It's okay to hug.
It's okay to hug.
Because we haven't seen some of these folks in a long time. Some feel fine hugging, some feel fine elbowing, and some feel fine stay the hell away.
Which is great.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see a couple of people. I don't know if they'll want to hug, but
But they'll be here. But
anyway, they'll be here.
Look, Chris, give me some final thoughts before we end here.
We're on a real inflection point in the country right now.
So too, yeah.
It seems that there's almost a strange point in history. People have pointed out throughout history, people like Harry Truman said that there are certain points in American history where it's just people have gone psychotic. Whether it was the Know-Nothings.
You remember that? Yeah.
Yes. And it was the same thing. It was the other. It was these people were destroying them. But then there were Catholics back then too when they did that.
That's the camera, not that.
Okay. There were Catholics. There was even Catholics back then. And, that gets back to the Supreme Court and with abortion, and these Catholic justices are turning over the whole country to an evangelical church when the founding fathers decided that there was going to be no religion because they were trying to get rid of Catholics.
Right. Interesting enough, what we find, Chris, is that what the right wing is doing is because they don't have the majority of the population, they are in fact using the Supreme Court as the undemocratic portion of the system. But Chris, Naka,
Hey,
my pleasure.
You, man, keep it up.
Right. Thank you, my
I really enjoy this guy.
All right,
He helps me out a lot at work, you know. I can sneak away and go and listen to him. It works out.
Thank you, my friend.
You take care, and I'll see you around the campus.
See you around the campus.
All right.
Bye-bye. Man, it was great seeing all those great people at Netroots, and all of you that are here. You know, it's a conference. If you get a chance to get away for 3-4 days, come on and go on to Netroots. You meet a lot of great people. We have panels upon panels upon panels on just about every subject about designing, policy, all that good stuff. It is really, really great. In the past, I used to go to the panels. In the past, I've been on a few panels, but now sitting down on Radio Row, I just sit down there wanting to speak to everybody that I can out there. Everybody that I can out there. Carl Cox, welcome aboard. Paul Fleming, welcome aboard. Go out and cut your grass, brother Fleming. Look, guys, I got to get out of here. I want to thank all of you for being here. You know, that's what it's really about. For us to sit down, be able to break bread together, talk together, have a little bit of discourse, a little bit of debate, and then know that, you know, we're all together. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right. And you guys know how I end this, baby. I am what? Out. We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead. Number 1, subscribe to our channel. And number 2, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please.